Welcome to AI TV. We're broadcasting live from AI Expo Africa 2019, and it's a great pleasure to welcome James Bracher from Two-Way Systems, one of our startups in the AWS-sponsored Innovation Cafe.
Yeah.
James, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having us. We've had
Yeah.
a great time at the event so far, and kudos to all of you for putting on such a good show.
Thanks very much. Now, you guys came on literally, I don't know, like days before,
Yeah,
right? So you
yeah.
just made my life a little bit harder. That's what I remember about you.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of you guys. So why don't you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about your business and your story?
Perfect. So yeah, first of all, thanks again for having us at your event, and it's great for startups to be involved in an event like this because it gives us exposure to the right kind of clients, and also to see what's happening in the marketplace in the tech space specifically, and then in terms of AI and ML, where things are going. And I'll explain a little bit about how we utilize that in our business, but effectively we started 5 years ago. And we started in the retail sector where we work with organizations with large mobile workforces. So sales and merchandising was our first foot in the door.
Okay.
So companies that have 300 to 400 people out in the field, they need to communicate with those people and they need to do it in an efficient manner. They also need to get instructions out and receive information back. Hence the name Two-Way, in a quick and easy way. There was a lot of paperwork historically. People would come into office for meetings to collect their duties for the next week, walk out with a deck of paper, and then come back into office the following week. So we flipped that on its head, and we really felt that there was a need for a software tool that we could build that really answered the requirements of mass communication and productivity for large workforces. And that's where it started. And then from there, we evolved into the financial services sector. So we work with the likes of RCS. We're a Vodacom partner. Amazon Web Services has obviously been fantastic for us, given us a lot of exposure. And then we also use a lot of their
what's that program called? They've got a startup program, haven't they?
Yes, we actually skipped that whole route, but we've been using them as an infrastructure platform for some time. But, more recently, we're getting involved with the services that they provide, and the support that they've given us has been fantastic, especially as a young business. Okay.
Now, you've come to this show. This show's all about real-world AI in a business context. What's a typical engagement like for your company? You go out, you're selling your solution. Yeah. What does that engagement look like? Are you solving a very specific problem? What's the decision makers in the enterprise saying to you about your solution?
So effectively, we're a business-to-business SaaS tool.
Okay.
So we're going to employers who are wanting to manage their workforce more productively and to understand the efficiencies that they can get out of their workforce.
So you're talking broadly to is that HR functions or?
It's a bit broader than HR because it's not just about time and attendance. I think we take the measurement of communication and task management, and we make that measurable. Whereas historically that would be very difficult to measure. We take the time that someone enters a store and the time they leave, and we measure everything that they do in between that. All the tasks that have been set, all the photographs they gather, and I'll explain what we do with photographs shortly, but there's a lot of compliance work that gets done. So our typical users could be a sales and merchandising agent, a sales rep, a field technician who's repairing photocopy machines, who's got to source parts.
What about people working from home?
Yeah, I mean, we very much could do that. I think these days...
So how do you monitor someone working from home? I guess, maybe you turn the webcam on, but I mean, that's one area. I mean, I've been a mobile worker since 2001. Yeah. So is your system talking to that population? That's a growing population, right?
It's a growing population, but we're servicing part of the industry that's manual labor driven, I would say, more than your work. So we're definitely talking to people who have large workforces that are packing shelves, that are doing sales calls, that are photocopier technicians, 300 to 500 people up to 5,000 and more, where they're wanting to manage that communication in one consolidated place, where there's often been a lot of miscommunication through email, WhatsApp, Excel. So we're all about consolidating the way that people communicate in a two-way relationship with the employees.
That's the name, right?
Yeah, and empower the end user. So the person using the tool at the coalface actually finds it easy to use, and then their adoption rate is much higher, and they collect more data because they're familiar with it. It's not intimidating, and it's not just a policing tool. It's making their lives easier in the field.
Now, when you develop the solution, I mean, obviously you're on the Amazon platform, right?
Yes.
So have you incorporated the machine learning data analytics components from their Lego, if I can use that, or have you designed that yourself and you're just sitting on their platform?
No, at this stage we're using their Lego, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
But we're definitely evolving into our own stack in the machine learning space. But that's not our specialty per se. Our specialty is in workforce management and communication. But the way that we're using their tool now is specifically around getting data out of photographs. So we get a lot of, there's obviously a hell of a lot of information that sits in a photograph, and especially in the retail sector where you've got prices on shelf, you've got pack sizes, brand names, how many units are on a shelf. All of that type of information can be gleaned from an image.
So you're starting to get into diving into large volumes of unstructured data there then? So
yes. Yeah. So we have to extract the data first, so that's the first part of the process, and then we have to teach the machine how to interpret that data.
So this is a price tag, this is a shelf, this is a product on a shelf. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the real purpose of it is to look for exception reporting. Is not to look for where it's right, but to look for where it's wrong. It's wrong. So it might not be in retail, it might be across a marketing campaign that's being run across the country where you've had to put up marketing collateral,
posters or
and the image, the machine will be able to tell you that where it's been done incorrectly, or where the poster's upside down, or where the price is incorrect. So instead of a human having to look through all of the correct photographs to find the incorrect one, through machine learning, the model gets smarter and smarter every time, as you well know. We can really teach it to look for images and data.
Now, obviously this is your first time at the show. What have been the kind of takeaways for you from this show so far? I mean, you've been in the Expo hall, you're in the Innovation Cafe. What have you seen and heard that's impressed you so far?
First of all, I just think as a networking event for me, as a business owner and a co-founder, it's been fantastic. Just meeting like-minded individuals, and also a lot of the corporates that are here today that are willing to engage and talk to young businesses. I found that to be really inspiring. I think there's this notion that big corporates kind of won't give startups a chance in a lot of ways, but I think the way that we've been certainly dealt with today, and our experience with corporates in South Africa, is that there is this real desire to learn more about AI and ML, but also to how do you use these tools in your business productively and effectively, and not sort of pie in the sky ideas, but how can I really get efficiencies out of what I do and what data I have in my business, and the kind of questions that people are asking, I've found to be very interesting and valid and problem solving, which is what we are.
So and they're asking those questions because they're looking for solutions, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Cool.
Correct.
All right, James. Well, look, maybe next year you'll come back bigger and better and stronger. You'll go from the startup. We're not really a startup anymore, but maybe into the bigger Expo hall. And it'd be great to have you and see you there next year. And
thank you,
James. Thanks very much for joining us on AI TV. And we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.